This is Rob Temple for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. Delighted, as always, to be joined by the realest man in boxing, Viddal. Riley, we're in a stairwell.
Yeah, in a stairwell, but you know, as long as there's a camera and a seat, I'm good. We're ready to go.
Yeah, we're adaptable. I like it. How are you? I haven't seen you since Las Vegas, couple of weeks before KSI Logan Paul. Lots happened since then. How you doing?
Excuse me. Man, it's been a busy time. It's been a fun time. You know, I've seen a lot of growth for myself and my brand, and you know, being part of the winning team, as I always say, is great. You can't knock it. Being a part of that event was crazy. Seeing the whole fight week, you know, you got to remember I'm at a stage in my career where I don't have the press conferences, the fight weeks, the public workouts. So to be that close to it and see it just made me think, yeah, this is going to be me in a couple of years. So it was great.
I mean, it was a huge event. Obviously, I wasn't out there. You caught up with Ryan and Andy, who were out there for Boxing Social, but it looked like a crazy event, really. Now it's all over and done with. Are you relieved? Do you miss it?
Definitely relieved. You know, being a coach is harder than being a fighter because you have to put your faith into somebody else and hope that they come out with all the information that you've taught them and they perform. So definitely stressful, but definitely relieved, and we got the W. So exciting event, big event, crazy hype, millions of views across everybody's channel, as I know you've seen, and you'll be happy with. And yeah, now the gravy train's done, people. That's it, it's done.
What was the first thing you did after the fight?
What did you do after the fight? I went to the change room, jumped up and down for a little bit, and went back to the hotel, got changed, went straight out to the club. And, you know, he had his first drink in, 5-6 months, and that was the end of him. Him being KSI.
So now you're back home. What's the plan? Obviously, I understand I've caught you just before you're flying back out. Talk to me about the plans for the future, because obviously you've got your fight coming up.
Yeah, so I've been back literally about 4 or 5 days, just done tons of interviews and tried to record some YouTube videos as well. And now it's back out to Vegas to start camp. You know, we're trying to get on the card for the 28th. You know, Gamboa and Tank, Badu Jack, Pascal. You know, not confirmed yet, but as soon as it is, I'm sure you'll know. And yeah, just preparation begins, man. Just
touch on a few things about the fight and kind of fight week. Let's start with the fight itself. Mm-hmm. Much was made, 10-ounce gloves, no head guards. I think we kind of saw a little bit of the byproduct of that when you see JJ get knocked down and fighters both trading big bombs. Was that kind of as big of a factor as you'd predicted going in?
Yeah, you know, the guys, they're both novice fighters and they were given expert tools, so that's only going to lead to one thing. I found it interesting that Logan decided to wear the Reyes because we knew he was going to wear the Grants, and then he decided to change the Reyes when I think he watched our interview, you know, and decided to change them, honestly. But it paid off. He got a knockdown from it, and then he continued to punch him whilst he was down. But giving those guys those tools, we was going to see pain at some point. And to be fair to them, they took the shots really well. And even JJ to get up after that knockdown showed the heart of a professional fighter. And I don't think anyone can, you know, go against that.
What was going through your head when JJ got knocked down? Because that was a hell of a shot.
Yeah. So when the uppercut first landed, I knew it hurt him. And I didn't know if he was going to go down or not. But then obviously once he pulled him and hit him again, I was like, okay, cool. Once you hit someone on the button twice when they're rocked, they're going to go down. And it was worrying. You know, I haven't seen him in that position before. He normally takes punches really well and doesn't show any sign of being hurt. So that's the first time I've seen him in that position. As a coach, I thought it was my job to not show any panic and not blow it out of proportion because he's going to feed off my energy. So when he come back to the corner, I just kept it really calm. I just said, listen, and I could see that was going to happen. You kept doing the same move. He was like, oh, okay, yeah, I know. I was like, listen, that's not a big deal. I said, just stay on your feet, you'll win the fight. So it kind of just blew over what happened, and then I feel like he went back out with more confidence once he recovered. But that was a difficult thing for me as a coach because it was like, okay, your fighter's hurt. You naturally, I care about JJ as a person and not just as a fighter. You know, I look at him as a friend, so it was kind of like, oh man. But then it was like, stay calm. He'll feed off your energy, take your time. So good experience for me to handle my nerves and stuff like that as well.
Now going into the fight, a lot of people looked at the first fight, myself included, and kind of looked at Logan Paul being busy or having his most productive spells in the first fight, early on in the fight. He never really seemed to get going in the rematch. Did that surprise you? If so, why do you think that was?
Oh, you know, we don't have to think. He said that he sneezed 3 times and he had a cold, and that's why he couldn't deliver. But I just feel like he was so cautious to not be tired again that he actually didn't do enough this time. So he went from one scale to the other side of the scale, and which led to his defeat, because one guy was in there fighting to win, one guy was in there to take part, and I felt like you could feel the energy. KSI was there to win, you know what I mean? I feel like the judges felt that, which is why the point tipped towards him.
Do you see them fighting again in the future?
No, I can't see it happening. Reason being, they had a draw. I know it wasn't a professional fight, but they boxed already, had a draw, had a win for KSI, and it wouldn't make. I don't think people would be interested to actually see the third. It's a bit of an old story now, you know. It's a draw. We need to settle it. Pro, no, yeah, guards. Let's go. 10 ounces, and then you're gonna do it again. It's kind of like, come on, guys, you're gonna fight each other every year, you know. So I feel like if JJ does fight again, it has to be someone else.
If he does fight again, do you think he will fight again?
I think if it makes crazy business sense, then he will. But I've said to him, don't fight unless it really will change your life. Not many things can change that guy's life now, you know, with what he's done. But if he, you know, the likes of, I don't know, Chris Brown or someone that's huge within their community decided, I want to fight, of course you do it, because then you're crossing over into another market again. But don't fight another YouTuber, because he's the king of YouTube, so doesn't have to prove anything to anyone.
You mentioned kind of Chris Brown there. Eddie's been talking about, obviously Eddie Hearn, who promoted the fight, has been talking about various celebrities who've been getting in touch with him. Don't suppose you've heard anything on that regard?
Oh, you know how Eddie is, man. He says what he needs to say. He gets everyone on the edge of their seat. But the only reason I said Chris Brown is because he was supposed to fight Soulja Boy, and Soulja Boy was supposed to fight Jake Paul. So those names are flying about, and who knows, man. Everyone, once someone's hot and someone's got the clout, who knows who's going to come and chase after it, you know, so.
Final one on Fight Week. You probably know what I'm going to ask here. Shannon Briggs, I've known you for a little while now. We've interviewed each other a fair bit. Yeah. I was very surprised to see your reaction. Yeah. Tell me what happened.
It was a build-up, you know. You could see there was a lot of tension between me and him from the press conference. You know, he had his speech where he seemed to be respectful. He seemed to be quite level-headed and speak about the event professionally without trying to belittle me. Towards the end of his speech, he decides to belittle me and talk about me being a butter knife trainer, younger than him. What can you teach him? Boom. So I fired back again with his drugs, which hit him deep, and we could see that was not a gimmick. You know, it affected him. So he was already built up from that. The morning of the weigh-in, because, you know, they have the official weigh-in, public weigh-in. The official weigh-in, he runs up to me, stop talking about my drugs, stop talking about this, stop talking about that. So it was and a lot of animosity built up behind the scenes. And then when he decided to, you know, throw his cap towards my face, it's just like, that's it. I just kind of lost it. And, you know, just shows I'm human and everyone has it. But I wouldn't be a fighter if I didn't have that in me. So there you go.
Somebody else who got involved, who I know fairly well, Amir Abdallah.
Yeah, that annoyed me as well. You know, as much as Amir is my manager, I look at him as family to me. So when he's, you know, starting to push on my people and the people that support me, is kind of just my natural instinct to stand up and defend and, you know, get involved, because that's just how I am, you know. But it's all done now. We got the W, so that's it.
All friends now?
Not about friends. As I said, I wasn't friends with him before, and I won't be friends with him after. You know, I didn't think about him before, and I definitely won't think about him after now. I might say let's go champ a few more times. I give him that, but apart from that, nothing else. I ain't got nothing to say.
Okay, well, let's talk about yourself. Obviously, people who watch this know that you're a budding young pro yourself, unbeaten professional. Rumours swirling around that you're going to be returning, as you said earlier on in the interview, on the Gervonta Davis, Ruiz-Joshua Gamboa undercard. Mm-hmm. Is that realistic? Is that likely for you to happen? And if so, how much are you looking forward to getting back in the ring yourself?
It's very likely. We just need to sort out a few finer details. Everyone's trying to get on that card. You know, it's a big card to end the year, and all the Mayweather Promotions fighters will be trying to get on the card. So we're just doing a few things, make sure we have our slot, and once we have that, we'll announce it. And I need to train anyway, in case that is confirmed, because, you know, we can't leave it to chance. So I'm looking to have my return there. Nice little way to show, you know, my showcase my talent. under Mayweather Promotions. That'll be my debut under them. So, yeah, exciting times.
Now, I mean, obviously it's not the first time you've been in a corner as a trainer or conducted a camp as a trainer, but what does that give you as a young fighter, kind of seeing the other side of things and then looking at it from a fighter's point of view moving forward?
It allows me to see things more clear. From the outside view, you always have a better perspective than when you're in there. But it gives me the opportunity to break down the sport more as well, because when you're coaching to a novice, you have to break down the sport for them to understand it. But whilst you're breaking it down, you're also relearning and teaching yourself certain fundamentals that I would have learned at 8, 9 years old that I've, forgotten about. You could say you have to revisit those to teach a novice. And we all know boxing's a sport of fundamentals. So teaching KSI those, it kind of made me go, okay, yeah, I can remember that and add that to my game. And in my next performance, you'll see how that comes about.
And obviously, you're probably one of the most high-profile sort of prospects, as it were, in world boxing. How do you, if at all, really kind of manage being Viddal Riley away from the ring, but also Viddal Riley inside the ring? What's key for you in that aspect?
Just living in my own bubble, really. Like, I don't keep up to date with the social medias and stuff. Like, I'll be so honest with you, I just about watch our interviews. I do them. I say what I need to say. I'm honest, I'm sincere, and I just let it go. And that helps me just stay in my own little bubble. And then sometimes it leads to me being a bit naive. Like, I think I can just walk to the shop and just do normal things, and I realise, okay, people actually care about who I am. But that helps keep me humble. That helps keep me in the same mindset. And every time you interview me, no matter if I have 800,000 subscribers or 100, it doesn't make no difference, because I don't keep up with it. And then if someone throws something in my face, I'll see it. I'll go, oh, okay, cool. Even I was on ITV News, and 6 o'clock news, someone had to send it to me. Like, that's how extreme I am with it. But it just helps keep me in the mentality of just staying tunnel vision and focused.
I'm glad to hear that you watch our interviews. Is it important, with that in mind, obviously you make a very good point, to base yourself in Vegas, where it is a little, because, I mean, people have a misconception about Las Vegas that it's an entire party town. It's really, really not. I mean, obviously you can do that if you want to, but is it important for you to kind of go there and get away from all of the stuff over here in the UK? Do you think that's going to help you moving forward?
Yeah, I do. I think, in the UK, I'm very well known in the UK, and then, it's small. If I'm walking around London, it's intense, but Vegas is open space, off the strip. Not much going on. You go to the gym, you can go out, eat. You're not going to get harassed, So yeah, it's good. It's important for me to focus. It's not a problem.
I was going to come down the left.
That's okay, no problem.
Cheers.
That's okay. We'll just carry on.
Yeah, we just carry on. Yeah, it's important for me to go out to Vegas, because it lets me just channel in. My family's not there and stuff like that. No distractions. I can go out there, focus on camp, train twice a day, rest, physio, all the good stuff, and then perform.
Get better sparring out in Vegas, would you say?
You get good sparring. It's hard to get sparring as a cruiserweight. That's a fact. It's hard to get sparring. So sometimes we have to spar a few heavyweights. Sometimes we spar a few light heavyweights. I'm not a fan of sparring people in my division, especially who I feel I could come up against, because boxing is a tactical sport. And I'm a true believer in it's literally a game, just like any other game. If I play someone at FIFA a couple times, they will know what I'm gonna do. And boxing is exactly the same. If I spar you too much, you just start to learn my tendency. So anyone in my category, I try and avoid sparring them. I try and spar heavyweights or light heavyweights, and there's a few out there, so it helps me.
Now, I spoke to you briefly when I was in Vegas last about, at the time, you just signed with Mayweather Promotions, but we didn't really touch on it too much. Why don't you tell me a little bit about the whole deal and how it come together? I thought, as did many people, that you might end up with Mr. Hearn, but you didn't. Tell me a little bit about what it was about Mayweather Promotions that enticed you.
Oh, I have a close link there through my manager, because he manages Baddy Jack. Baddy Jack signed to Mayweather Promotions, so the link was always there. And they were, I would say, they offered me the 21st century deal, you could say, where it's like, you do your YouTube, you do this, you do that, and we're accepting of that, and we'll let you do that, and we'll mold your boxing career. A lot of people want to exploit me for all the other things that I bring to the table that has nothing to do with the ring. Mayweather Promotions didn't do that. They made sure that they said, listen, live your life, do your thing, and just make sure you're ready to fight when we need you to fight. And that's the type of contract that I need, and it made sense. And yeah, I'm happy with it.
Was that always going to be kind of the route that you went down with? I mean, obviously I just said I expected you to sign with Eddie, but you do train with Jeff. Obviously, I know you've done some sparring and worked out in the Mayweather gym. From going in there, was that kind of always an avenue that you potentially looked to go down?
I always knew it could be a possibility. I never ruled anything out, As a young fighter, up-and-coming fighter, we have options. I feel like I'm marketable to anybody. I can actually fight as well, so we didn't want to limit our options. But I always knew it would be the direct option to go to being where I am and where I'm based. And I wouldn't have just made that decision out of convenience. I only would have made it if it made business sense across the board, and it did. So it's just a coincidence, I guess.
You're basing yourself out in America. You've got American promoters, American-based management team. Yet your profile is so big over here.
Yeah.
When can we expect to see you over here? Obviously, domestically, cruiserweight over here is very, very, very exciting at the minute.
As I always say, it's an exciting division over here, but everyone's also old over here. So I don't need to mix with them. I'm not their generation, There's time for me to take my time, build elsewhere, and it's the market over here is saturated with good fighters, but fighters who, in 2-3 years' time, their careers will be determined. They'll either go up or they'll go down. And at that point, I can really start to fish and see where I want to go. Boxing's about tactics. It's all about making the right moves at the right time. It's not about being the macho guy and doing what the public tell you to do, because the public don't get in there and take the punches. So it's for me to take my time, pick my avenue with my management, with my team, with my family, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, well, moving away from yourself, couple of fights I'd like to get your opinion on. I know that you spoke to Coogan about it yesterday. For people who are watching, I was actually supposed to come and interview Viddal just before Coogan, and then the times got switched, and I couldn't make. I didn't let you down. Deontay Wilder versus Ruiz-Ortiz. We had a brief chat about this off camera. Why don't you tell the people what you told me?
Right. So I want Ortiz to win because we share the same strength and conditioning coach. I believe in Larry, and I want Larry to achieve and be recognised for who he is and get his fair dues. But I do think Wilder will knock Ortiz out, and I think it will be fairly early. I think he's going to catch him cold, and you can't bet against Wilder. With someone who hits that hard, 12 rounds is a probability game, and it's hard to avoid him. Fury had the best chance of doing it, and even he got caught twice and dropped twice when he got hit cleanly. So yeah, I want Ortiz to win. I think Wilder will win.
You mentioned having the close relationship with Larry Wade, who's somebody who's got a massive profile out in America. He's not the most well-known over here for obvious reasons. Why don't you tell people just about Larry Wade and what he's going to bring to Ortiz in this camp?
Coach Larry works with multiple world champions, Sean Porter, Caleb Plant, Paddy Jack, Ruiz-Ortiz, future world champion myself. So he has a stacked roster of fighters, world championship level fighters, and I know I've missed a few, but he knows what he's doing. He's been in the game a long time, and only now he's really starting to come into his prominent phase where people take him seriously and acknowledge him for what he's doing in the game. And for Ortiz, we know his conditioning hasn't always been the best. He's always been a little bit overweight, always a little bit chubby, but you can see he's in shape this time, at least physically anyway. You can see the difference. So hopefully that turns out in his cardio, his power, his speed, his movement, and he gets the W.
You mentioned kind of the shape that he's in. He has slimmed down and lost a little bit. I don't know if you can call it puppy fat. Ruiz-Ortiz is not a puppy.
Yeah.
But do you think that potentially could have any impact on his ability to hold the shots? Obviously, he's in against Deontay Wilder, big puncher.
I don't think any physical changes will help you withhold punches from Wilder. The only thing is defense. That's the only thing that's going to help you. I think if you have a huge belly or you're shredded like AJ, if he hits you, he hits you, and that's it for you. So I think the only thing that's going to help Ortiz is the fact that he is slick. He is, he does come from that background of good boxing, in the Cuban, how the Cubans are, and that's going to help him more than any abs, any weight loss. That's going to be the thing that helps him.
And just finally, Anthony Joshua against Andy Ruiz. Everybody seems to be split, everybody I speak to. I know that you're not particularly split.
I think I know, like, you know, the UK might hate me for this because everyone's like, oh, you can't go against your countrymen. But you just ask for my honest opinion, I think Ruiz will win. Why? You know, I always like to give reasons. I don't just like to say things. Because of the style. Boxing is all about styles. Everybody has a style that's hard for them to defeat. You know, you've seen even Floyd, he don't like, you know, Maidana style, the Jose Luis Castillo style. You know, everybody has something that just gets to them. You know, Nazim Hamed didn't like Barrera style. So AJ doesn't like the short fighters that throw combinations, powerful, quick hands. This is just a bad recipe for him, and I don't think between June and now he's going to find what it takes to defeat Ruiz. You know, if he proves me wrong, fair play to him. I'm not a hater. They're honestly great, but that's just my opinion.
You've trained a fighter in the biggest fight of the year. So what advice would you give to Anthony Joshua if you were his trainer for this fight?
I would say to him, getting Ruiz's head, not by antics. I mean, step into his head and think, what would Ruiz be thinking? I entered the gym. He entered the gym at 6 years old. He's always been overweight, so he's always been heavy. He's always gonna box people that have been taller than him from the day he stepped in the gym. Do you want to do the traditional thing of keep it long when that's all this guy knows? And that's all I'm gonna say. That is literally the advice. Think, would you want to be boxing a guy long range who's only been taught to deal with guys that are taller than him that box long range? Do the opposite.
So you're going for Ruiz stoppage?
Yeah, he ain't gonna win a point, so he's gonna have to. He's gonna have to stop him. He's gonna have to stop him if he wants to win. I predict round 9.
Okay. Well, just before I let you go, question just popped into my head. Obviously, in the build-up to KSI Logan Paul, everyone was talking about, you know, a new audience. A lot of our viewers, or certainly a good percentage of our viewers, are quote-unquote hardcore boxing fans who kind of laughed at the fact of bringing a new audience to boxing. Now, we're a couple of weeks out from it. You're probably in a better position, or as good a position as anybody, to really comment on it. Have you felt that? Have you had more people kind of engaging with the boxing side of what you do since the fight, or is it just kind of gone back to normal?
A bit of both, you know. I feel more people engaged with my boxing side through my little feud with Shannon Briggs as opposed to actually training KSI. I feel like for training KSI, I'm getting accolades and being a great coach, but through the back and forth with Shannon and people thinking if the fight's going to actually happen, allowed people to dip deeper into my boxing background to see if I actually had a chance of winning against Shannon, and what would happen if me and him did fight. So I feel like that led to people looking into my boxing career, whereas KSI winning was just like, you're a great coach, you know, you took a YouTuber to a professional fight and he won. So I feel like I've got the best of both from the event. And now it's just about what matters most is winning in the ring.
More YouTube boxing in the future? Joe Weller was talking about being a promoter.
Man, that face says it all, man. Like, you can't just be a promoter, can you? But if we see a few more YouTube fights, I think it will be great. I think it will be good for the guys because whilst they're on it and whilst they're interested in it, the companies that are in power should strike, because once they're off it, these guys are so mobile. Like, they got such a following, they can do anything, chess, volleyball, anything. Millions of people will watch. So whilst they love boxing and they're involved in boxing, any promoter out there, take advantage, get the guys under your belt, because once it's done, it is done.
If KSI decides to be a chess player, will you coach him for that?
I'm not a great chess player. I'm good at physical chess. I forget the rules now and again on the board. So you have to find someone else, man.
Okay, well, always a real pleasure catching up with you. Thanks for making time for myself and also Andy and Ryan out in LA. Yeah, enjoy your brief spell home before you get out to Vegas. Go on then.
What do you think of Tommy Fury calling out KSI?
It did not surprise me at all. But I mean, Tommy Fury is a professional. I'd rather see him fight you, to be honest.
That's what everyone's saying, but that ain't gonna happen. You know what I mean? He knows what route he's taken, and you know, from the Love Island to calling out KSI, he's going for the fame and popularity, which is fair play to him. That's not what I'm going for. I just get it, you know, because of who I'm associated with. But he's selecting that route, so he would never call me out for that reason, I guess.
What did you think of him calling out KSI? Did it surprise you?
I thought it's all about money, innit? It's all about attention. You know, he's got his own following from Love Island, and then JJ's got the YouTube following. So he thought, you know what, I might as well build another 2 million, 3 million followers by fighting him, which makes sense. It makes good business sense. But wait, Tommy's a light heavyweight, isn't he?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so he's not my weight anyway, so it's fine.
Okay, well, we'll let that one marinate for a while. Viddal Riley, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Always a pleasure catching up with you. Hopefully see you soon.
Yeah. If I get confirmed for this card and you don't come out to Atlanta, then we're not doing no more interviews.
Viddal Riley, the realest man in boxing. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social.
Thank you.